A kindergarten should be a safe place, a space for play and learning. But here, behind these walls, all that remains is a hell of failed experiments, betrayals, and deformed creatures. Today, you will learn the entire story of Garten of Banban, from its origins shown in the prequel Garten of Banban 0 to the horrors of the latest Chapter 8. Chapter 0. Origins. It all began with the first experimental cases, before the protagonist arrived in search of the missing children. At this stage, there were still children and staff in operation. Among these cases was Case 6. Banban. His creator, Dr. Uthman Adam, conceived him as a friendly face to hide the true nature of the project, a terrifying laboratory disguised as a daycare. But things got out of control. Banban began to develop his own personality, both charismatic and dangerous, something that wasn't expected. He was replaced by another experiment, Flumbo. Banban did not accept this change, so he secretly conspired with creatures like Syringan to regain his position, revealing his manipulative and controlling side. Chapter 0 is the seed. It shows that the garden was never a place of education, but a facade for monstrous testing, and it shows how the experiments began to rebel once they stopped feeling like simple pets or tools. Chapter 1. The Empty Garden. The first game puts us in the shoes of a parent looking for their child, who disappeared along with many other children. They enter the daycare, but what they find is dark, walls covered with colorful drawings, intact desks, but not a single sign of children. That emptiness is what turns the garden into something terrifying, as if time had stopped. In this chapter, the parent obtains a drone, a key tool that becomes their eyes and hands in unreachable places. This mechanic reminds us that we are trapped in a space designed like a labyrinth. Every door requires a card, every hallway hides more mystery. As they progress, they discover the first major monster, Opila bird, a giant pink bird similar to a flamingo, with big eyes and a blank expression. A chase begins, but the protagonist manages to escape by making Opila fall into the void. Afterward, the parent takes an elevator. Suddenly, from the darkness appears Jumbo Josh, a green giant. He rises next to the lift, his size taking up almost the entire screen, and with a brutal blow, he makes the platform collapse. The chapter ends with the parent barely surviving, but with the certainty that the garden is much more sinister than it seems. It is no longer just about a missing child. The place hides monstrous secrets that are slowly being revealed. Chapter 2, The Assembly and the Betrayal. The second chapter continues right after the first, with the parent waking up after the fall. They move into the communications sector, where they hear Banban over the speakers. He poses as a trapped security guard asking for help. With a calm and convincing voice, he guides the parent step by step, inspiring trust. But from the beginning, it feels strange. Banban doesn't seem like a real ally, but someone manipulative. In a hallway, the light goes out and Nabnab appears, a blue creature that moves at high speed along corridors and ceilings. The parent manages to escape. Later, in the security office, the protagonist finds notes that reveal information about the experiments. There, the role of Gavanium is explained, an experimental material created by the organization behind Banban's kindergarten. It is the blood that gives life to the creatures, mixing human or animal flesh with inorganic properties. Thanks to it, the experiments have consciousness, although they also suffer from instability and violent behavior. At that moment, Banban hits them from behind and steals all the keycards, saying the parent is a perfect surgical sample. He drags them to the medical sector. The parent wakes up on a stretcher with their abdomen stitched. Banban has removed their pancreas while they were unconscious. Even in pain, they manage to move forward and discover a blackboard with the drawing of a child next to an elephant, which hints that some experiments were carried out by combining children with animals. Further on, they find another note about Case 10, explaining the creation of Opila bird from a common flamingo and Givanium. The document clarifies that she attacks anyone except people of short stature and high-pitched voices, and that there are at least 6 birds like her. Right after, Opila appears, chasing them through a hallway until Banbalina opens a door to save them. She is Case 7, created to be a teacher pet of the garden. Inside, Banbalina acts as a teacher in an aggressive way. The parent understands that they must obey her orders to survive. They manage to escape to another room, where they must place several baby Opila birds in their nests. Along the way, They find a note detailing that Givanium works like blood, but it can expand excessively and generate extra veins throughout the body, causing the disproportionate growth that characterizes the creatures. Later, they run into Banban again, who now seems remorseful. He admits that he did remove the pancreas, but says he needed it to help Jumbo Josh recover from his fall. He also tells them that he knows the parent is looking for their children and confirms that the kids are there. The chapter closes with a chase where Banbalina and Jumbo Josh harass them, but the protagonist manages to escape and take another elevator. As they descend, a message appears on the wall. No matter what, do not go down there. Chapter 3. The truth behind the disappearance. After going down, the parent notices a mural of a kangaroo, Queen Bouncelia. As they explore the place, Banban is heard again over the speakers, apologizing for having hit them, confessing that he tends to react violently. He says it's best not to meet again. Finally, he gives the location of someone who probably knows where the trapped children are. They move on and at one point find another note, this time about Case 13, made with jellyfish, human, and Givanium genomes. It details that this creature began to show signs of neuroactivity on the first day of creation, while others took up to 3 weeks to achieve it. Further on, they encounter Stinger Flynn, who tells them they won't be able to escape with their children and recommends they leave as soon as possible. At that moment, Flynn places a tentacle on them and transports them to another reality, where a smaller Stinger Flynn is watching from afar, a figure the parent had seen before. It was Zolphius, a creature that had human genome, who only watched from a distance and about whom very little was known. At that moment, Stinger tells them that place should be their home, not the dark underground they were in, and that his dream is for the sun to touch his skin once. For that, he must take the children. After this, the parent wakes up and appears in a kind of prison, Sheriff Toadster's prison, whose mission is to imprison criminals represented as buckets with eyes. The parent manages to solve the area's puzzles and get out. Further ahead, they arrive at a medical sector and discover a report on Nobnalina. It said that Nobnob was so aggressive due to his loneliness, so she was created to calm him. But when that didn't work as they wanted, the scientists modified her Givanium, reducing her mental capacities and causing her to become more aggressive, exactly what they wanted to avoid. The surgery was never completed because the kindergarten collapsed, so when the parent arrives at a room, they find Nobnalina and will have to be the one responsible for finishing that surgery. What they must do is inject various missing Givanium mixtures to complete her transformation. Later, in a hallway, Nobnob and Nobnalina are seen approaching and interacting, showing that they liked each other. The parent continues advancing and meets Stinger Flynn again, who tells them that his offer to let them escape had already expired, but that he will not stop them because an old friend needs them. Therefore, he puts them to sleep again and sends them into one of his illusions. They wake up in a van where Stinger Flynn, Banban, Opila Bird, and Captain Fiddles are present. It seemed they were heading to the beach, but in the middle of an argument, they end up crashing. After this, the parent wakes up and appears with Banbalina and Nobnob on a table. There, Banbalina tells them that Jumbo Josh has all three of them trapped, watching them. The parent must complete several puzzles. They move through several corridors and reach one where there is a huge void. Out of nowhere, a two-headed creature appears, similar to a turtle, which the parent has to fight. After defeating it, on the floor, they find a photo showing Zolphius, the two-headed creature, and another new one with two colors, green and purple. Later, they encounter a baby Opila. The parents arrive, and the parent mounts one of them called Tarta Bird. Together, they go toward a button, which, when pressed, makes Stinger Flynn appear. He is surprised and says he had never seen anyone ride a bird and asks what led them to do so. At that moment, he shows Banban, whom he had captured and forced to reveal very important information. Suddenly, Banban activates his violent mode, Hellish Banban. He begins to chase them through a hallway until reaching a room where Jumbo Josh appears and begins to fight Banban. Jumbo defeats him, and when he is about to deliver the final blow, Stinger Flynn arrives and stops him, initiating another fight in which Opila and Tarta also join. It is then that the parent takes the opportunity to escape with the baby Opila in an elevator next to several barrels of Givanium and a sign that said, "Find the kingdom, find the sheriff, do not let the jester find you." Chapter 4, The Kingdom. After going down the elevator, the parent takes the baby Opula bird and walks down a hallway until Tamataki and Chamataki, the two-headed monster from Chapter 3, appear. It chases them and continues through a series of puzzles in which they must use the baby's help to get through. They reach a room where they find a new control, but when trying to grab it, they see it as a trap and they pass out. Upon recovering, they wake up in a room in the middle of an interrogation. It was Sheriff Toadster. He begins to ask if they had run into several of the garden's monsters. The parent, for each photo that appeared, said yes, and this surprised the sheriff. But when a photo appears of a two-colored monster, purple and green, named Jester, nicknamed for Bittergiggle, they say no. The sheriff tells them that this is because that monster is from the upper floors and had never gone down that far. After the interrogation, the sheriff decides to take them to Queen Bouncelia's kingdom and go to an audience with the queen. There, the sheriff tells her he didn't get much information, but that the person comes from the surface, and he tells her about the parents' situation, searching for their missing children. The queen says she will help and orders the sheriff to look for some parts that will be used to fix the elevator and be able to get out of there. So the sheriff, the parent, and the baby Opila bird go in search of the parts. There, the sheriff tells them that the queen's jester has become rebellious and that no matter what happens, they must not make the queen laugh, because if she laughs, everything inside her bag will escape and everyone will die. He also tells them that he was thrown into that place by humans and that once lost and with nothing, the queen found him and helped him. From that moment, Sheriff Toadster declared himself her protector. Later, in a new area, they find a drawing of the jester, whose name is Bittergiggle. There, the parent enters a room and the doors close. In the darkness, a purple arm approaches, imitating a snake, and Bittergiggle appears and begins to chase them. The parent flees and, right at the door, the sheriff hits the jester, forcing him to flee. After this, sheriff and parent return to the queen and deliver the first part. She congratulates them and names the parent an official citizen of her kingdom. Before leaving, she informs them that they have captured several monsters, including Banban, who is in the infirmary. The parent goes to visit him, and Banban apologizes and says that everything he did was not his intention, but that he is now calm and will help look for the rest of the pieces to fix the elevator. In another of the cells, they find Stinger Flynn, who is injured due to the fight with Jumbo Josh. Stinger says he made a mistake by not having left earlier, and that, whatever happens, it will be his fault. Despite this, he shows a vision. The van they were in, destroyed, and everyone sitting around a campfire with Zolphius in the background. At that moment, a trains with legs called Choo Choo Charles appears, but the van explodes and the vision ends. After this, the parent and Banban advance to the next area. On the way, Banban tells them that he is Dr. Uthman Adam, referring to the human name that donated the genome used to create him, and that he had problems at work because his coworkers began to see him as a monster and stopped talking to him for no reason. Minutes later, they reach the area and find Jumbo Josh, who is caught by a sheriff's trap. They continue advancing and find a room full of body parts similar to Bittergiggle's, where they find one of the second to last pieces they needed. They then go to another room in search of the last piece, but Bittergiggle appears in the middle. As they approach, he leaves, and through another door appears a huge beast called Kittysaurus, a combination of a cat with a T-Rex. It tries to eat the parent, but after a chase, the parent manages to make Kittysaurus hit its head, knocking it unconscious, and takes the opportunity to escape. After this, they run in search of the last piece and find it in a room. But the door closes, and behind a pane, they see Bittergiggle, who says that being a jester, his duty is to make the queen laugh. He knows what is said. If she laughs, her bag will explode and everyone will die. But he doesn't believe it. His goal is probably to make her laugh to release what is trapped in her bag, since, according to a document about Queen Bouncelia, when she was transferred to this kingdom, she took it upon herself to lock up all the bad experiments inside a bag, including some members of the mutants to which Bittergiggle belonged. After this, Bittergiggle goes in search of the queen, and the parent manages to escape that room. Upon returning to the kingdom, they find the sheriff unconscious. Then, the parent goes to the queen and sees Bittergiggle. He tries to tell a joke, but the queen jumps and orders him not to. The jump causes the baby to fall into a barrel of Givanium, transforming into a giant bird that begins to fight Kittysaurus. At that moment, Bittergiggle takes advantage and tells a joke. Although it is very bad, the queen laughs, which releases a great light from her bag. Then, the sheriff warns that they must flee as the entire floor will collapse. The bad thing is that the elevator could only be fixed to go down, so they will have to go wherever it takes them. There, they find Stinger Flynn unconscious. Meanwhile, the sheriff laments having lost everything he had built, letting everyone he had captured escape, except Stinger, who had useful information before finishing. He warns that if they manage to survive, they must find the Queen's scepter, as it is the only way to stop the chaos. The chapter ends again with the descent in the elevator, but something strange happens. At the end, the screen shows directly an image of Chapter 6, completely skipping 5. Chapter 6, Sacrifice. It continues after having escaped the kingdom and taken the elevator. The parent, the sheriff, and Stinger Flynn went to the next level of the underground. The sheriff seemed angry and worried about the atrocities that could be happening in his old home after releasing everything from the Queen's bag, and says that the only thing that will give him peace is to take revenge on those who caused all this. They then followed the path but left Stinger Flynn in the elevator as he was still unconscious. As they advanced through the hallways, they began to hear many laughs. At that moment, the sheriff said he knew a place where they could be safe. While heading there, they came to a room where the lights began to go out. There, the sheriff becomes alert and shouts that running is the only way to be safe, as they cannot stay in the darkness for long. They run and finally reach the safe place where the sheriff says it brings back bad memories, since that is where they discarded him, and he was abandoned for a long time. It was a place that simulated being outside. That place had a door that led them to the Queen's scepter, the only thing that could stop the naughty ones, the monsters that were released from the bag. After completing several obstacles and corridors, the parent finds a device for the drone that they use to open doors. But at that moment, a figure appears in the darkness that slowly approaches and disappears. Then they return to the sheriff and see that he is talking to Banbalina. He asks if she knows of someone who is deceiving people and capturing them, what the sheriff had done in the previous chapter. But Banbalina says that when she was captured, she couldn't see the face of her captor. Afterwards, the parent, with the help of the drone, makes their way through the darkness and reaches a blue door. When opening it, they find Bitter Giggle, who, repentant, asks forgiveness for everything that happened. It is likely that the Queen is dead because of him, so he decides to help in any way he can to fix what he caused. After solving puzzles, they manage to restore electricity to the rooms and a film is played, but the lights go out and Bitter Giggle tells the parent that they must hide until the screening ends. They leave the room and close the door. Through the door, a deep voice is heard claiming to be Banban, but the parent and Bitter Giggle distrust it and do not let it in. What was behind the door starts pounding it until suddenly the light returns. The door opens on its own, but there is no one there anymore. From there, they return to the sheriff, and while walking through a dark place, they begin to hear voices that seem to be children. When they arrive with the sheriff, they see that he had put up barricades. He gets angry at the sight of Bitter Giggle and accuses him of betrayal. Right at that moment, a dark monster jumps on Banbalina and takes her away. The sheriff runs after her to help, while Bitter Giggle goes the other way and the parent accompanies him. There they find Stinger Flynn, who had already woken up. To move forward, they had to activate the electricity, so the parent goes in search of the next switch. On the way, they see several parts similar to Bitter Giggle, and further on, they find Banban, who is glad to see them alive and accompanies them to a room that simulated the surface. After solving a puzzle, they find a key that opens another door. Behind it appears a small leech that flees, and right behind appears the leader of the naughty ones, Sir Dadadoo. He attacks Banban and speaks to the parent, calling them his liberator. Just as he is about to attack, Bitter Giggle appears and saves them. The parent takes the opportunity to escape and activates the next switch, leaving only one more. As they return to the base, Bitter Giggle tells the parent that he is happy with all the progress and decides to tell a joke. Upon returning to the safe zone, Banban was already there. He says that Nabnab returned, but he locked him in a cell next to Kittysaurus. Stinger Flynn was also there, but smaller than usual. He explains that when they imprisoned him in the kingdom, they drained his Gavanium, and now he doesn't have enough power to fight or recover the children. At that moment, the parent has another vision. The whole group wants to continue their trip to the beach, but there is a storm, so they decide to take a bus. One arrives and Captain Fiddles is carried inside by a light. Nabnab loses control and runs into the middle of the road, where he is run over. Another bus comes straight at them, but the vision ends. Upon waking, Bitter Giggle tells them that Banban went to look for the last switch and left them a card to follow him. They advance to a medical room where they meet new creatures who introduce themselves as children of Syringan. The parent continues and finds Banban setting a trap to capture the monstrous version of Little Beak, the baby Opila. The parent helps and they manage to make the creature fall into the trap, returning it to its original form. They then move toward the last switch and obtain the card that opens the scepter door, which makes Banban suspect a possible trap. Nob Nob throws himself at the scepter and activates it, but it was incomplete. A piece was missing. Right behind appears Sir Dadadu, revealing that the scepter is the key to his prison. He threatens to eat Kittysaurus if they don't tell him where the missing piece is. Banban asks Nab Nab for help and injects him with modified Gavanium that transforms him into his monstrous form to fight Sir Dadadu. Banban orders them to flee, but Bitter Giggle stays, saying that he will never find an audience that laughs at his jokes and jumps into the void. The parent and Banban flee toward the elevator, but the lights go out. Sir Dadadu appears with all the known cases so far, revealing that he is creating an army and that he wants the parent and Banban under his command to finish what the queen couldn't. Banban launches into the fight while the parent escapes in the elevator, hearing how an intense battle begins. Chapter 7, Behind the Mural. After escaping Sir Dadadu thanks to Banban confronting them, the parent reaches a new underground floor. But something falls on the elevator and destroys it, leaving the parent without an exit, forcing them to keep moving forward. Later, they reach a dark room where Nabnalina appears. The parent quickly throws a Gavanium canister that explodes in her face, making her leave. Further on, they move through a rather strange room where there were several humanoid bodies with large heads. These were the citizens of Gavanium, and at the end of that place was Syringan. The parent approaches him, but from behind, one of those Gavanium beings hits them, leaving them unconscious. Upon waking, the parent finds themselves on Syringan's stretcher, who tells them that he is disgusted by the limitations of humans, promising that with his operations, the parent will die as part of something much greater. But in the middle of the operation, he makes a mistake using the drill against one of the citizens, and thus he cannot finish the operation, leaving the parent alive, and sees the attacked citizen hiding in a corner. Through the window of one of the doors, they see the surgeon working on another experiment. He starts chasing them, and the parent, taking advantage that there was a naughty one in that place, sets a trap. When he attacks, the surgeon promises that if he helps, he will let the parent go free. There, the naughty one releases him and they start to make a plan, but he confesses that he still has the missing piece of the scepter, and that if Sir Dadadu gets it, he will gain great power, which would mean the end for everyone. But he has a plan that will require Jumbo Josh. If they manage to capture him, they hope he can face Sir Dadadu and his army and defeat them. To capture him, the surgeon gives the parent a new tool, a controller with 2 antennas that will serve to make their way through the entire city of Sidinjan. As soon as he arrives, a citizen runs terrified when seeing the parent, implying that in that place the citizens fear humans, although there were others who were not bothered by their presence. Upon arriving to a witness who knew the whereabouts of Jumbo Josh, he gets angry when he sees that the mayor had sent a human. He says he must go to talk to another citizen. From there, he goes to a bar where they tell him someone was waiting for him in the back. Upon going there, he finds Sheriff Toadster himself, who tells him how he went from being the Queen's bodyguard to ending up in that place. He also tells him that the only way to capture Jumbo is with a fake broccoli, which he no longer has, although he has the information that someone among the citizens knows where to locate it. When arriving at that citizen's house, the parent hears a scream in the distance, and one of the citizens who lived there promises to give all the information if he manages to silence that sound. We see how a citizen was the one screaming, and through a door, Bitter Giggle appears in his naughty form, saying that the parent has always hated his jokes. He begins to chase him, and the parent is forced to run across the rooftops. He jumps from the roofs, and the sheriff appears just in time and saving him. Together, they go to take shelter in a room, but Bitter Giggle catches up with them and begins to fight the sheriff, who tries to calm him, but seeing it impossible, he is forced to use one of his stars, with which he hits him and sends him flying. Upon leaving, we see how Bitter Giggle was lying on the floor with the star stuck in his chest, but now he had returned to his normal form. The bad thing is that the star seemed to have caused more damage than usual. Bitter Giggle says that he accepts this fate since he knows he deserves it for everything he has done, and as a last wish asks that they tell him a joke to know what it felt like to hear one instead of always telling them. There, the sheriff tells him one, and Bitter Giggle laughs while slowly fading away.
Goodbye, my friends.
The sheriff, devastated by what happened, tells the parent to continue alone in search of Jumbo. Upon returning to the citizen's apartment, he changes his opinion about humans and gives the parent a card that will grant access to a theater. On the way there, he sees Stinger Flynn in one of the alleys, who sends the parent on another of his trips. In this, Stinger Flynn is piloting what seemed to be a fighter plane, but then another argument begins, and Stinger Flynn gets angry with Banban, who activates his demonic form and knocks him out of the plane. It is left without a pilot, and from there, everyone ends up jumping, and everything concludes when we see the plane explode. From there, the parent wakes up and on the ground finds the ticket to access the theater. Once inside, on one of the promotional posters, they see another performance called The Lick of 78, a clear reference to FNAF's Bite of 87. The play that the parent came to see was the last of all. In it, there was only one citizen as a spectator who promises he can give him a collar that will help find Jumbo Josh if he repairs some beacons so the play can be performed. The parent fixes them, and upon finishing, the citizen says he needs one last favor. Bring a figure of a bird similar to Tarta Bird that was on a cart. Upon bringing it, the play could finally begin. There, the story of someone named Jonathan with an S is told, who gets angry upon seeing what they do to the birds. From there, Tarta and Opila, in their naughty versions, jump out to finish everyone off. They begin to chase the parent, who manages to escape and finally goes to talk to the citizen, who gives him the collar. The parent uses it and now does locate Jumbo Josh. After going through several paths and solving puzzles, the parent reaches a dark room where he finds a bloodstain from Jumbo Josh, which serves as a sample to take to Syringan. He says he can make Jumbo Josh come to them by luring him with his blood. He reveals that when they created Jumbo Josh, their goal was to give him the behavior of a male gorilla, so when he senses another gorilla, he will go to fight and defeat it. The plan was to inject Jumbo's blood into the last missing piece of the scepter, so when Sir Dadadoo approaches and steals it, Jumbo will go after him. As obvious as the trap seemed, Sir Dadadoo shows up and steals the last piece, places it inside the scepter, and throws lights revealing the power. But then, Syringan captures him. Sir Dadadoo says he doesn't care since his army can face anything. And that's when Kittysaurus, Banbalina, and Nabnab in their naughty forms appear and begin to fight Jumbo, who had also arrived. In the middle of the battle, Tamataki and Chamataki also arrive, but it still isn't enough to face Jumbo, who was far superior in strength. Cornered, Sir Dadadoo tries to negotiate, but Jumbo grabs him and begins to slam him against the floor. After defeating everyone, Jumbo Josh takes the scepter and eats it, causing a large explosion that leaves the parent unconscious. After a long time, they wake up on a hospital stretcher, and Stinger Flynn is at their side. Upon getting up, the surgeon was there and tells them that the plan ended up being a success, but that the scepter was destroyed in the process, causing all those who were being controlled to return to normal. So, he asks the parent to take a rest. After this, the parent gets up from the stretcher, and Stinger Flynn, who had also woken up, tells them that Banban's mural looked strange. The parent approaches and sees that Banban's figure looked overlaid. Seeing that this was the case, they begin to tear it off, but Syringan tries to stop them. Quickly, the parent rips it off completely, revealing that there was a blue Banban with a kind of beard and yellow eyelashes. This angers Syringan, who says the following words, "Never play with the devil." He then hits them and knocks them out. Chapter 8. The True Face of the Garden. After being knocked out by Syringan, the parent wakes up in a kind of prison full of Givanium citizens. From there, they are taken to a room where one of the citizens takes a photo to register them and make a prisoner card. Upon leaving, they meet Stinger Flynn, now smaller than ever, who again blames them for everything that happened, saying that now the surgeon controls everything. At that moment, one of the citizens sends them to work together chipping stones. Once finished, a guard tells them that they must return the next day, and then the next, and so on for the rest of their lives, implying that the surgeon keeps everyone as prisoners. When talking to several citizens and even some experiments, we notice that they refer to the protagonist as a woman, implying that all this time it had actually been a mother and not a father. We also notice it in the trailer when we hear the voice of a child calling his mother.
Mommy, you finally found us!
After working, the mother returns to her cell to rest, but on the way, a citizen stops her and tells her that someone wanted to see her. Behind a door, Sir Dadadoo appears along with Jumbo Josh. He explains everything that happened and how she had been manipulated, revealing that the true villain was Syringan, although he already had a plan to escape. The mother returns to her cell and lies down, but when she opens her eyes, she appears outside it, in front of the sheriff who had discovered the whole plan. He pulls out one of his stars and kills the citizen accomplice. Seconds later, a van breaks through the wall, causing an explosion. The mother takes the opportunity opportunity and gets on to escape. But on the way, the vehicle breaks down and is sent flying along with the citizens who accompanied her. After the explosion, she wakes up in an area where she finds a closet. When she opens it, she discovers a blue figure, Flumbo, the same one from the mural seen in Garten of Banban 7. He had been locked up by Banban many years ago. He was confused, surrounded by drawings on the walls, thinking he was still playing hide and seek. At that moment, Banban appears, with serious wounds and one eye lost. He apologizes to Flumbo and assures that he needs him. Banban says that the last thing he remembers is that the naughty ones attacked him. Then someone captured him and he woke up in a hospital bed. He insists they must leave. The three take a train to the surgeon's office. But on the way, a message from Syringan appears on screen announcing that a dangerous human is at large, and whoever captures them dead or alive will be rewarded. Therefore, the mother cannot continue with them. If the surgeon sees her, he will capture her, so they leave her at another station, where she follows her own path. There she receives a notice on a screen that her body has too much damage, and she must see a doctor. The doctor she goes to is unstable and asks for help to recreate Banbalina, whom he was in love with. After solving a puzzle, the mother manages to activate a machine and inject a liquid into a green slime, but the resulting creature does not resemble Banbalina. Furious, the doctor kills it with scissors, although he gives her some cards to move forward. At that moment, tentacles appear that take the doctor away. He was actually a giant shrimp with a collar, apparently controlled. He chases the mother in circles until she finally defeats him. Moving on, the mother takes an elevator that takes her to the surgeon's residence, where she finds Flumbo tied to a stretcher. She frees him, but Syringan appears along with Banban. Flumbo still believes they are playing hide and seek, and Syringan manipulates him into thinking they are looking for another hiding place. Confused, Flumbo believes they are tricking him, and, grabbing the mother, throws himself with her into Zolphius's mouth. Inside Zolphius, they discover an underground Givanium world inhabited by a tribe of citizens. Flumbo is captured when they mistake him for the one responsible for a village fire, which is not true. To free him, the mother must help the citizens and prove his innocence. Upon reaching the burned village, she discovers a monster with a torch responsible for the fire. After defeating it, she returns with the proof and they free Flumbo. The village leader reveals his true identity. He was not Case 6C, but Flumbo, created to be the superstar of the complex, but sabotaged and erased from history. Later, the mother finds Stinger Flynn again, who had escaped from prison but was thrown there again. However, the village is attacked, and the citizens form a ladder so the mother and Flumbo can escape. Before leaving, the leader gives her a disc to show to Banban at the right moment. Outside, Syringan appears on screens announcing that the mother is still at large and that he has the way to capture Flumbo. Since he is holding Banbalina hostage, Flumbo, worried, wants to rescue her. Stinger Flynn says goodbye. Flumbo and the mother move forward together until a gate separates them. She, alone, goes through a dark hallway where she hears children's voices, but discovers they were imitated by a blue creature with huge eyes that also wore a collar. After a chase, she manages to escape and reunite with Flumbo. They follow the path until they reach a bridge where Banbalina is hanging. Syringan demands that she surrender to save her, since he needs her parts to rebuild Banban. Flumbo refuses, and Syringan drops Banbalina into the acid. At that moment, the mother plays the tape given by the leader. It shows that Banban was manipulated by the surgeon and his aggressiveness was artificially induced. This enrages Banban, who transforms into his demonic form and pierces Syringan's body with his hand. Then, throwing him into the acid, Flumbo also adopts his demonic form. The two fight fiercely, but end up falling together into the acid. The mother tries to escape, but when passing through a door, she hears children's voices calling her. As she approaches, the head of the blue creature she had killed earlier appears, and we also hear Brushista's voice saying that the rules have now changed, and the door behind her slams shut, ending Chapter 8 and leaving an open ending, showing a promotional photo of Garten of Banban 9, Last Ticket to the Abyss. Then in the teaser, the abomination is shown, a horrific hybrid of Banban, Flumbo, Syringan, and Banbalina. As for Chapter 5, fans have built dozens of theories. Some believe it will be a prequel that will show what happened during the famous Bring a Friend Day when the children were still in the garden. Others think it will be a parallel story within a dream induced by Stinger Flynn, a chapter where we will see distorted versions of the monsters and memories of the past. Others hold that the chapter will reveal more about Givanium, the substance that gave rise to the creatures. In the end, this whole story is not just about experiments, monsters, or betrayals. It's about a mother who never stopped looking for her children. Every descent, every creature faced, every deception survived was in the hope of embracing them again. But in the Garden of Banban, hope is always tested. The children are there, but hidden behind a labyrinth of pain, twisted science, and enemies who were once innocent too. The saddest thing is that, despite everything she risks, the answer never fully arrives. There is always a new secret, a new, deeper abyss, as if the garden itself were mocking that desperate search. And perhaps that is the true terror of this saga. Not the monsters, not the blood, but the possibility that the mother may never find the ones she loves, and that her children have become part of the very hell she is trying to destroy. If you liked the video, leave your like, subscribe, and in the comments leave your theories for the next chapters. Thank you, and see you soon.